Okay, so I wanted to tell you something. What is that? Real quickly, I wanted to share something. I had chemo today, so here's my boo boo. Um, I look kind of crappy because my eyelashes are falling off and my eyebrows have been wiped off. I'm having a hot flash, so I'm now sweaty. But yesterday I was in HEB and um, this lady was walking past me. She was going towards the door, and she passed by me. I was just entering, and she looked at me and smiled. And if you've ever had chemo or some kind of a physical, some kind of an illness where you can look at somebody and tell that they're probably sick at that time in their life. I get a lot of looks of pity and things like that, which is fine. I understand. I don't judge her, but sometimes it makes me feel little self-conscious. Sometimes it doesn't bother me because I'm just like, whatever, I'm not gonna, I kind of don't care. But every once in a while it bothers me. So this lady looked at me and smiled. But what bothered me is that she turned her head around as she was passing by. I kind of looked because she was giving me kind of a strange look. And so as she walked by, she whipped her head around real fast and was like making this face looking at me. And I was like, is the back of my head showing? Like, what's going on? So anyways, I kind of tried to shake it off, and I went ahead and finished my shopping. And then I ended up in the produce section before I had to leave. Sorry, my eyelash is bothering me. And I hear this voice behind me, and it's her. And she was like, "Ma'am, excuse me." And she was saying something, but I couldn't hear her because she talks very quietly, and I'm kind of hard of hearing. So I turned around, and it was her. And she said, "Ma'am, can I ask you something?" And I said, "Yes." And she's like, "You're going to think I'm crazy." And I was like, "Go ahead." So she said, "Do you have cancer?" And I said, "Well, I'm trying not to claim that. I'm doing a video, baby, to tell them my story that happened yesterday." So I said, "Well, no, I'm not trying to claim that. I'm believing that it's gone because the doctor said she removed it in surgery, but I have to go through a chemo to make sure that all the cells that may have been left behind are killed." And so she said, "Well, and she kept saying, 'You're going to think I'm crazy.'" But she said 2 weeks ago she was praying, and God told her that she was going to that she needed to pray for somebody that had cancer, and that they would be healed. And she said, "Well, who is this person?" And she said, "God told her, you'll know it when you see them." And so Shannon's raising his hands, or his hand. So anyways, when she walked in the door, and as I was walking in the door and she was leaving, that's when God told her. So when she did that thing where she whipped her head around and looked at me crazy, and I was being judgmental, thinking she was being judgmental, it was really because God was like, "That's her." She said right at that moment when we passed by, she looked at me and God told her, that's the person you're supposed to pray for. So she came over and found me in the produce section to tell me about it. And she was worried, kind of, I guess, concerned about what I was going to think of her, that she was, that I would think she was crazy. And I was like, no, 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 I don't think you're crazy. I have that happen to me all the time. And I know that, most people probably think I'm crazy. And so I told her I appreciate her, because she said, "I want to be obedient to the Holy Spirit. And so I do, I wanted to tell you, but I was concerned about what you were going to think." And I said, "No, I appreciate you being obedient, and I appreciate your prayers. And I am grateful that you told me." And I shared it with Shannon and Alyssa and my sisters. So I wanted to tell you guys about it and encourage you. I don't know, that if somebody, I guess maybe encourage you that if God puts somebody on your heart, to go ahead and tell them. And then even if it's a stranger, and even if they're, look at you like you're nuts, because you're just, being obedient. And I thought that was a really, really cool story. Because, I have times where I am concerned, have concerns about the future, and what if the chemo doesn't take care of everything, and I have to talk myself down from that way of thinking and be more on the positive. In the beginning we were very positive, and or at least I was, and believing what the doctor said, that she took all the cancer out. But you know how fear creeps in and kind of steals your joy. And so I have these ups and downs, and I'm sure you guys can all relate with different things you've gone through in your lives. But lately I've been on the downside where I'm like, what if the chemo doesn't take care of everything? What's the next step? What are we going to do? We're having so much trouble with this time around, like, you know, one of those kind of deals. So I told her I really appreciated her, and we exchanged phone numbers and everything. And she said if I ever needed to talk to anybody or pray, that she would be available. I just thought that was a really neat story, and I wanted to share it with you.